Welcome to Destroy the Old You, Rebuild from Zero. Before we begin, take a deep breath and remind yourself why you're here. You're not listening to this audiobook just to feel inspired for a few minutes. You're here because something deep inside you is ready for transformation. You're tired of living in patterns that no longer serve you. You're tired of being stuck in a loop of the same mistakes, same emotions, and same limitations. This audiobook isn't about motivation alone. It's about destruction and rebirth. To destroy the old you means to challenge every part of yourself that's been built on fear, doubt, and comfort. It means confronting your past, not to relive it, but to release it. The person you've been until now was doing their best with what they knew, but now it's time for something greater. It's time to let go of the version of you that plays small, that hesitates, that listens to the voices saying, "You can't." And when I say rebuild from zero, I mean starting from the purest place. Not from your failures, not from your mistakes, but from your potential. From zero, you are free. From zero, you are unlimited. This audiobook will guide you through that process, step by step, tearing down the mental walls you've built and teaching you how to construct a stronger, wiser, and more powerful self. Before we dive in, if you find value here, remember to subscribe and stay connected, because rebuilding yourself isn't something you do once. It's a lifelong practice. Every chapter will help you shed another layer of the old, until what remains is the truest version of who you are. Now, let's begin this journey. Not to fix who you were, but to rebuild who you are meant to become. Chapter 1. The decision to let go. Everything begins with a decision, one that feels small in the moment, but changes everything afterward. For many, that decision is the quiet realization that something has to change. You wake up one day and feel the weight of your own habits, your routines, your comfort zones pressing down on you. You look at your life. Maybe you've achieved things, maybe you haven't, but deep inside, you know you've been living below your potential. That's where it all starts, with honesty. Letting go isn't just about cutting people off, quitting your job, or moving somewhere new. It's about releasing the mental patterns that keep you stuck in the same story. The truth is, every human being has built an identity based on survival. Over the years, you've learned to protect yourself from pain, rejection, failure, and disappointment. You've built emotional armor that may have helped once, but now it limits your growth. And to rebuild yourself, that armor has to come off. The decision to let go is terrifying because it feels like death. When you destroy the old you, you're not just changing habits, you're dismantling an entire belief system. The old you is made up of your fears, your past experiences, your insecurities, and your excuses. It's the voice that says, "This is who I am. I can't change." That's the version that must die before the new you can live. But here's the secret. Letting go doesn't mean erasing who you were. It means forgiving that person. It means recognizing that every mistake, every heartbreak, every failure shaped you, but none of them define you. You are not your past. You are your potential. The person you were yesterday was necessary for you to learn what you needed to learn. But you can't rebuild your life while holding on to a version of yourself that was never meant to evolve. You might ask, how do I actually let go? It begins with awareness. Start noticing what no longer serves you. It could be a relationship that drains your energy, a belief that you're not good enough, or a habit that wastes your time. Write it down, see it for what it is. Don't run from it. Confront it, because awareness is the first hammer that begins to crack the old foundation. Next comes acceptance. You can't destroy what you refuse to acknowledge. Accept that you've been stuck. Accept that some of your pain was self-created. This step isn't about guilt, it's about freedom. When you accept your flaws, you stop being controlled by them. You begin to understand that the old you wasn't evil or weak, it was simply scared. That version of you wanted safety, not growth, but growth never feels safe. Then comes courage, the courage to step into uncertainty. When you let go of who you were, there will be an uncomfortable silence inside you. The routines that once defined your identity will dissolve. You might feel lost, confused, even empty. That emptiness is not a void, it's space. Space where something new can grow. Most people run back to their old selves at this stage because the unknown feels unbearable. Don't. Stay there, sit with it, let the silence teach you patience. Here's what most people don't realize. Transformation doesn't start when you feel ready. It starts when you surrender. You can't plan your rebirth perfectly. You just take the leap, trusting that the person you're becoming will figure it out. That's what letting go truly means, releasing control over how everything unfolds. Think of a forest fire. It destroys everything in its path, but what grows afterward is richer, stronger, and more alive. The same happens inside you. You must be willing to burn down the false identities you've been clinging to, the roles you play for approval, the masks you wear to feel loved, the fears that keep you small. You can't rebuild greatness on top of self-deception. Ask yourself right now, what are you still holding on to that's keeping you from evolving? Is it resentment toward someone, fear of failing again, or maybe it's comfort, the illusion that staying the same is safer than starting over? Whatever it is, identify it, name it, and then tell yourself, this no longer defines me. Letting go doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. You'll have days when you feel empowered, and others when you feel like the old you is pulling you back. That's normal. Growth is not a straight line, but every time you choose awareness over avoidance, acceptance over guilt, and courage over fear, you're destroying the old you a little more. Remember, the old you was built for survival, but the new you will be built for creation. The old you played not to lose, the new you will play to win. The old you needed validation, the new you will generate it from within. This is the shift that changes everything. As you move through this audiobook, you'll discover practical ways to rebuild yourself, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But nothing will work unless you've made this first decision to let go. Because no new story can begin while you're still rereading the old one. So right now, in this moment, make the decision. Whisper it to yourself if you have to. I release the old me. Say it with conviction. Feel it. Because once you decide, truly decide, everything else begins to align. This is where your new life starts. Not when the world changes, not when someone saves you, but when you decide to let go of who you were and take the first step toward who you're meant to become. The next chapter will dive into that step. How to rebuild from zero, and what it truly means to start over with clarity and power. Chapter 2. Rebuilding from the ground up. When you decide to destroy the old you, the silence that follows can feel heavy. You've let go of your past patterns, but what comes next? This is where most people get lost, in the in-between. You're no longer who you were, but you haven't yet become who you're meant to be. It's a strange, uncomfortable stage where everything feels uncertain. But this is where real transformation begins. Rebuilding from zero isn't about instantly becoming successful or perfect. It's about creating a foundation strong enough to support the person you're becoming. Think of it like rebuilding a house after a storm. The old structure was weak, filled with cracks and faulty wiring. You don't just paint over it and pretend it's fine. You clear the debris, examine the ground, and build again properly, intentionally. That's what you're doing with your life now. When you start from zero, you gain something most people never have: freedom. You are no longer bound by your old labels, failures, or reputation. You are a blank canvas. But that freedom can feel terrifying because there's no blueprint, no one to tell you exactly what to do next. You have to build it yourself, one day at a time. The first step to rebuilding from the ground up is clarity. You must decide who you actually want to become, not what others expect, not what society rewards, but who you want to be. Most people rebuild without a clear vision. They just replace one routine with another, one identity with a slightly improved version of the same thing. But that's not transformation, that's remodeling. To rebuild means to start with purpose. So ask yourself, if no one were watching, if no one were judging, what kind of life would you create? Who would you be? The answers might surprise you. Maybe you'd live with less fear. Maybe you'd take creative risks. Maybe you'd speak your truth more. This clarity is not just mental, it's emotional. Feel the version of yourself that's waiting to emerge. Picture it vividly until it feels real. Once clarity begins to form, the second step is structure. A new life can't grow on chaos. You need systems, routines, and habits that reinforce the person you're becoming. You can't just say, "I want to be confident," and expect it to happen. You need daily actions that build confidence, showing up, keeping promises to yourself, practicing discipline. The small, boring things you do every day are what create the architecture of your new identity. It's tempting to want to change everything at once. But rebuilding isn't about speed, it's about stability. You start small, like laying the first brick of a building, one habit, one improvement, one promise at a time. Over weeks and months, those small steps compound into something powerful. For example, if you're rebuilding your confidence, your first brick might be simply speaking more assertively. If you're rebuilding your health, your first brick might be waking up early and stretching. If you're rebuilding your focus, your brick could be turning off distractions for 1 hour a day. You don't rebuild your life in a single breakthrough moment. You rebuild it through thousands of tiny decisions. The third step is resilience, because rebuilding is messy. You'll doubt yourself, you'll fail again. You'll question whether you made the right decision to destroy the old you. That's normal. When you strip away everything familiar, your brain resists. It wants safety, not growth. But every time you face that resistance and keep moving, you're rewiring your identity. Resilience doesn't mean pretending to be strong all the time. It means refusing to give up when things feel uncertain. It means trusting the process even when you don't see results yet. Imagine a seed planted deep underground. It spends weeks in the dark before breaking through the surface. You don't see its growth, but it's happening. The same is true for you. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it isn't there. The fourth step is alignment. As you rebuild, make sure your actions match your new identity. If you say you want peace, stop feeding drama. If you say you want freedom, stop clinging to old attachments. Every decision you make either strengthens the new you or revives the old one. Choose wisely. Alignment also means surrounding yourself with the right energy. If you're rebuilding your mindset but still spending time with people who doubt, criticize, or drain you, you're fighting uphill. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. Sometimes the most powerful part of rebuilding is creating distance, not out of hate, but out of self-respect. The fifth step is patience. This one hurts the most because we live in a world addicted to instant gratification. But real rebuilding takes time. You can't rush identity. It grows slowly, like a tree that deepens its roots before showing its leaves. You'll have days where it feels like nothing is changing. But patience is what separates those who rebuild from those who relapse. To rebuild from zero means accepting that progress is invisible at first. It's mental before it's visible. You'll notice it in your reactions, how you respond to challenges, how you speak to yourself, how you bounce back from setbacks. That's where the change begins. Now, here's something powerful to remember. Rebuilding doesn't mean starting from nothing. It means starting from experience. You already have the lessons, the wisdom, the pain, and the scars from your past. Those aren't weaknesses, they're materials. Every hardship you survived has shaped you into someone capable of starting again, stronger, smarter, more grounded. Too many people romanticize the idea of starting over, like it's a clean slate with no past. But your past is the blueprint of your growth. Use it, study it, learn what worked, what didn't, and build differently this time. You don't erase the old you, you evolve beyond it. As you rebuild, remember this truth: discipline is more powerful than motivation. Motivation is emotional, it comes and goes. Discipline is structural, it stays even when you don't feel like it. So as you lay the foundation of your new life, focus on consistency. Show up even when it's not exciting. Those are the days that truly shape your future. You will face temptation, the temptation to go back to old comfort zones, to compare yourself to others, to expect quick results. That's the voice of the old you, whispering that change is too hard. When that voice appears, recognize it for what it is: fear disguised as logic. Smile at it and keep building anyway. Rebuilding from the ground up is not glamorous. It's not supposed to be. It's quiet, disciplined, and personal. It's about learning to trust yourself again after years of self-doubt. It's about keeping your word to yourself when no one is watching. That's how you rebuild confidence, by proving to yourself that you can depend on you. And finally, the most important part: faith. Not necessarily religious faith, but belief. But the work you're doing today will create something beautiful tomorrow. You might not see the future clearly right now, but faith keeps you walking even in the dark, because you know that the only thing worse than starting over is staying stuck. So here you are, at ground zero. You've burned the old version of yourself and cleared the ashes. The ground beneath you is ready. You have clarity, structure, resilience, alignment, patience, and faith. These are your tools. Use them wisely. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of identity, how the way you see yourself determines what you become, and how to reshape your self-image to match the life you're building. Chapter 3: Redefining who you are. When people talk about changing their lives, they usually focus on goals: earning more money, building better habits, or improving their relationships. But here's the truth most people miss: you can't permanently change your life until you change your identity. Every habit, every behavior, every reaction you have comes from the story you tell yourself about who you are. Think about it. If someone sees themselves as lazy, no matter how many productivity hacks they try, they'll always find a way to prove that story right. If someone believes they're not confident, even when they try to act brave, their mind will sabotage them to stay consistent with that identity. The mind craves alignment, even if it means staying stuck. That's why redefining who you are isn't just optional, it's the core of transformation. After destroying the old you and beginning to rebuild, the next step is to consciously rewrite your identity. The old you was shaped by circumstances, by what happened to you, by what people told you, by what you learned to believe for survival. But the new you must be created, intentionally, from within. So how do you redefine who you are? It starts with awareness. You must first see how your current identity was built. Ask yourself, who told me I couldn't do certain things? When did I start believing I wasn't enough? Whose voice am I still carrying in my head? A parent, a teacher, a critic, a failure? Most people never stop to question the stories running their lives. They mistake their programming for their personality. For example, maybe when you were younger, someone told you that you were bad at speaking, and now you believe you're shy. Or maybe you failed at something important once, and ever since you've worn the label failure. These stories might feel like truth, but they're not. They're outdated files your brain never deleted. To redefine who you are, you must uninstall those stories and install new ones. This doesn't mean pretending or lying to yourself. It means consciously choosing an identity that aligns with your goals, not your fears. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you want to be a disciplined person. You don't try to be disciplined. You become disciplined by identifying as someone who follows through. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you reinforce that identity. Each small act is a vote for the person you want to become. Identity change isn't dramatic. It happens quietly, through repetition. Every day, your actions cast votes for who you are. You can either keep voting for the old you or start voting for the new one. Now, here's something powerful to understand. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer behind them. The old you lived inside your thoughts, letting emotions and self-doubt run the show. The new you must learn to watch those thoughts without believing every one of them. When your mind says you can't do this, don't argue. Simply say, that's the old story. And then do it anyway. The moment you separate your awareness from your conditioning, you gain power. You stop reacting automatically and start responding consciously. This is where true freedom begins. But here's the tricky part. Identity change takes time, and the old you will fight back. Your brain doesn't like uncertainty. It will try to pull you back into old habits, old labels, old emotions. It will whisper, "This isn't you. Why are you trying to be someone you're not?" And it will feel convincing because those patterns are comfortable. To overcome this, you need evidence. You need to create proof that supports your new identity. You do this by acting like the person you want to become, even when it feels fake at first. If you want to be confident, speak like someone who believes in their words. If you want to be healthy, eat like someone who respects their body. If you want to be successful, work like someone who already deserves it. You'll notice something magical happens when you start living this way. Your emotions begin to catch up with your actions. At first, it feels like pretending, but over time, the pretending turns into being. You don't have to force belief. You grow into it. Another key element of identity is language. The words you use to describe yourself. Your subconscious mind listens to everything you say. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm so bad at this," or "I'm never consistent," your mind believes it and adjusts your behavior to fit that narrative. So change your language. Speak like the person you're becoming, not the person you're leaving behind. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to be confident," say, "I'm learning to express myself with confidence." Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at focus," say, "I'm developing stronger focus every day." These small shifts in words change how your brain perceives your identity. Another thing to remember, redefining yourself doesn't mean becoming someone else. It means becoming more yourself, the version that's been buried under fear, doubt, and social conditioning. Deep down, you already know who you are meant to be. Your job is to remove everything that's not that. You don't have to know the entire picture yet. You just have to decide on the direction. Every day you live in alignment with that direction, you reinforce your new self. Let's look at this from a scientific point of view. Every time you repeat a behavior, you strengthen a neural pathway in your brain. Over time, that pathway becomes automatic, a habit. The same applies to identity. Every time you think and act as your new self, you're literally rewiring your brain to support that identity. That's why consistency matters more than intensity. Small daily wins change your brain faster than rare bursts of motivation. You might be wondering, what if I don't feel ready? You won't. No one ever does. Readiness comes after you start, not before. You become ready by proving to yourself that you can adapt. The old you waits for confidence. The new you creates it through action. Now, let's address a painful truth. When you redefine who you are, some people won't recognize you anymore. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right. They just won't understand that change is necessary for growth. Don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Their version of you belongs to your past. Your new identity belongs to your future. Sometimes, redefining yourself also means forgiving yourself, not for who you were, but for who you pretended to be just to survive. You did the best you could with what you knew back then. But now you know better. Now you have the awareness to live differently. And here's a beautiful truth. You don't have to wait to become perfect to start living as the new you. You can start now, messy, imperfect, uncertain, but consistent. The world doesn't reward perfection, it rewards authenticity and persistence. Redefining who you are is not about becoming flawless. It's about aligning your actions, thoughts, and energy with the person you were always capable of being. As this chapter ends, take a moment to reflect. Who are you deciding to be? Not next month, not next year, but right now. Write it down, speak it out loud, let your brain hear it. This is who I am now. Because when you declare your new identity with conviction, your actions will begin to match your words, and your world will follow. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into how your environment and energy shape your transformation, and how to design surroundings that support your new identity instead of sabotaging it. Chapter 4. The environment that shapes you. When people talk about change, they usually focus on willpower, the strength to stay disciplined, the courage to stay focused, the motivation to push through. But few realize that your environment often has more power over your behavior than your will does. You can have the strongest intentions in the world, but if your surroundings constantly pull you back into old patterns, change becomes almost impossible. The truth is simple. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your identity. It influences your mood, your decisions, your habits, even your sense of what's possible, the people you interact with, the spaces you occupy, the sounds you hear, the content you consume. All of it forms the background of your mind. If that background is filled with distraction, negativity, or chaos, you will unconsciously become like it. But if it's filled with clarity, order, and purpose, you will rise to match it. Think about a seed. The seed's potential is fixed, but whether it grows or dies depends entirely on the soil it's planted in. You are the same way. You may have dreams, ambition, and talent, but if your soil, your environment is toxic or unbalanced, your growth will always be limited. The first step in shaping your environment for transformation is awareness. Take a moment to notice the spaces you live in every day, your room, your workspace, your digital world. Are they designed to support your best self, or do they reflect the chaos of your old identity? Is your desk cluttered? Is your phone filled with distractions? Are your conversations draining rather than inspiring? These are not small details. They are the architecture of your life. You can't rebuild a new you inside the ruins of your old life. That means your physical and mental environments both need renovation. Let's start with the physical. Your surroundings influence your behavior through small cues. If your environment is filled with distractions, the TV remote nearby, your phone lighting up, unfinished chores in your sight, your mind stays scattered. You don't need more focus, you need fewer triggers pulling you away. When you clear your space, you clear your mind. Start simple. Clean your room, organize your workspace, remove the clutter that constantly reminds you of things undone. This act alone builds discipline because it signals to your brain that you're creating order from chaos. Design your space for the person you're becoming. If you want to read more, keep a book where you can see it. If you want to exercise, keep your workout gear ready. If you want to think deeply, make your space peaceful and quiet. You're not just decorating, you're creating a behavioral system that supports the new you. Now let's move to the digital environment, one of the most powerful yet overlooked influences on your identity. What you consume daily, through social media, videos, podcasts, and conversations, becomes the language of your thoughts. If your feeds are full of negativity, comparison, or noise, your mind becomes restless and reactive. But if you fill them with growth, learning, and positivity, your thoughts start aligning with your goals. It's time to audit your digital world. Ask yourself, does this add energy or drain it? Unfollow anything that triggers envy or self-doubt. Subscribe to content that educates and uplifts you. Limit your exposure to the endless stream of distractions that numb your mind. Because your attention is your most valuable currency, and where you spend it determines what grows inside you. But perhaps the most powerful part of your environment is the people you surround yourself with. Human energy is contagious. Spend enough time with ambitious, positive people, and your standards rise. Spend time with negative, fearful people, and your dreams shrink. You start to mirror the energy you're around, even without realizing it. There's a saying, if you hang out with 5 confident people, you'll become the 6th. If you hang out with 5 victims, you'll become the 6th. It's not about judging others, it's about protecting your mental ecosystem. You can love people from a distance if being around them costs you your growth. Rebuilding your life often means re-evaluating your circle. That doesn't always mean cutting everyone off. It means being intentional about proximity. Who gets your time? Who gets your energy? Who gets your trust? Your inner circle should challenge you, not comfort your mediocrity. If you can't find people who inspire you in person, find them through books, podcasts, or communities online. Energy doesn't have to be physically close to influence you. It just has to be consistent. What you listen to, watch, and engage with daily builds your inner voice. Now, here's something deeper. Your environment doesn't just shape your behavior, it reflects your beliefs. If you live in chaos, it's often because your mind is chaotic. If your surroundings are neglected, it's a mirror of how you've been treating yourself. When you clean, organize, and elevate your environment, you're sending a powerful message to your subconscious. I deserve better. You're no longer living as the version of yourself that accepts disorder, distractions, or low standards. You're stepping into alignment with the new identity you're building. But shaping your environment isn't just about removing the negative, it's also about designing for growth. Ask yourself, what kind of environment would my best self thrive in? Maybe it's one filled with calm music, natural light, and books that inspire. Maybe it's a minimalist space where everything has purpose. Maybe it's a schedule that includes quiet mornings and deep work sessions. Whatever it is, design it consciously. Because here's the secret. When your environment supports your habits, discipline becomes effortless. You no longer need to fight yourself to stay consistent. You simply flow with the design of your space and system. Even nature understands this principle. A plant doesn't struggle to grow. It just grows because the conditions support it. You're no different. When your environment nurtures you, progress stops feeling like resistance. However, no environment stays perfect forever. Life changes, seasons shift, and your needs evolve. That's why you must periodically reevaluate your surroundings. Every few months, ask, does this still serve who I'm becoming? If not, adjust. Your environment should evolve with you, not trap you in who you used to be. There's also an emotional side to this. Your internal environment. It's not just the physical or social world around you. It's the emotional atmosphere you carry inside, the thoughts you entertain, the emotions you feed, the stories you replay. These shape your reality more than any room or person ever could. So, keep your inner space clean. Let go of mental clutter, regret, resentment, self-criticism. Replace them with curiosity, compassion, and gratitude. Just as you clean your room, you must clean your mind. Because no matter how beautiful your external world becomes, if your inner world remains toxic, you'll always find a way to self-sabotage. When your inner and outer environments align, transformation becomes natural. You begin to feel a sense of flow. Your thoughts, surroundings, and actions move in harmony. That's when growth stops being a struggle and starts being your default state. So, as you continue rebuilding your life, remember this: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your environment. If you want to change your life, don't just change your mindset, change the world you live in. Remove what pulls you down, add what lifts you up. Design everything around you to serve the future you're building. Because in the end, your environment doesn't just influence who you are, it becomes a reflection of who you're choosing to be. In the next chapter, we'll explore the most powerful fuel for your transformation: discipline, how to build it, how to sustain it, and how it becomes the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Chapter 5: The Discipline That Redefines You. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many think of it as punishment, restriction, or a rigid set of rules. But true discipline isn't about forcing yourself, It's about creating freedom through structure. It's the bridge between intention and achievement, between the person you are and the person you want to become. Without discipline, your goals, your identity changes, and even your environment will fall apart. When you're rebuilding from zero, discipline is the engine that drives every transformation. It's what allows you to stick with habits long enough for them to take root. It's what ensures you follow through even when motivation fades, fear rises, or distractions appear. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline is enduring. Motivation gets you started, discipline gets you results. To understand discipline, start by looking at how the brain works. Your mind craves ease and comfort because survival depends on it. Every action that requires effort feels like resistance to your brain. That's why old habits pull you back. Without discipline, your mind will always seek the path of least resistance. But discipline rewires this. When you practice consistent, intentional action, you teach your brain that effort leads to reward. You replace the old neural pathways of avoidance with new pathways of persistence. Over time, these actions become automatic. What once required struggle now becomes your default mode. The first step in cultivating discipline is clarity of purpose. You must know why you're doing what you're doing. Discipline without purpose feels like punishment. Discipline with purpose feels like power. Ask yourself, why am I rebuilding my life? Why am I committing to these habits? The answer must resonate deep within you, beyond logic, beyond fear, beyond doubt. Once your purpose is clear, the next step is small, consistent action. Discipline is not about grand gestures, it's about daily choices. A single hour of focused work repeated consistently will produce more transformation than sporadic bursts of intensity. The small, seemingly insignificant actions compound, forming the backbone of your new identity. Start with tiny victories. Make your bed every morning. Drink water before breakfast. Write down your priorities for the day. These small acts are deceptively powerful. They create momentum, build confidence, and reinforce the belief that you can follow through. Consistency over intensity is key. It's better to show up every day at 10% than to push yourself to 100% for one day and burn out. Discipline is a muscle. It grows gradually with use. Overworking it leads to fatigue, resentment, and eventual collapse. Respect your limits, but respect your commitment even more. Another pillar of discipline is delayed gratification. The new you must be willing to resist short-term pleasure for long-term gain. This isn't about denying yourself joy, it's about prioritizing what truly matters. Every time you choose action over comfort, persistence over procrastination, you reinforce your new identity. It's also critical to design your environment for discipline, building on what we covered in the previous chapter. Remove temptations, create triggers for action, and make the desired behaviors easy to perform. If your new identity requires focus, limit distraction. If it requires fitness, make exercise accessible. Discipline isn't just a mental effort, it's a design problem. Emotional resilience is part of discipline as well. The old you may resist change, using excuses like fatigue, fear, or doubt. Discipline means acknowledging these feelings without letting them dictate your actions. It's about doing what matters even when you don't feel like it. The more you act despite discomfort, the stronger your discipline becomes. Tracking progress is another secret of disciplined people. You cannot manage what you don't measure. Whether it's a journal, a checklist, or an app, keeping a record of your daily efforts keeps you accountable. It turns invisible progress into visible proof, motivating you to stay consistent. Discipline also requires boundaries. Saying no is as important as saying yes. Every choice to indulge a distraction, procrastinate, or avoid responsibility weakens your muscle of discipline. Every intentional no strengthens it. Protect your time, energy, and focus. These are your most valuable resources in the rebuilding process. Here's a critical insight. Discipline is not punishment. It's a declaration of who you are becoming. Each time you follow through, you tell yourself, I am reliable, I am capable, I am committed. These small affirmations, backed by action, reshape your identity. Failure is part of discipline, and it's inevitable. You'll miss days, fall back into old habits, and feel frustrated. That's normal. True discipline isn't perfection, it's persistence. Every time you recover from a lapse, you strengthen your resilience and reinforce your new identity. The path to mastery is paved with imperfect but consistent effort. Another overlooked aspect of discipline is self-compassion. Pushing yourself too hard without kindness leads to burnout. Discipline is sustainable because it's firm but fair. You hold yourself accountable, but you don't hate yourself for being human. The balance of rigor and compassion ensures that your new behaviors last. As your discipline grows, you'll notice subtle but profound changes. Your priorities become clearer, your focus sharpens, your confidence increases because you've proven to yourself that you can rely on your own actions. You begin to operate from a position of strength rather than reaction. Discipline also transforms decision-making. When you operate from your old self, choices are reactive, impulsive, and often fear-driven. The disciplined self, however, makes decisions aligned with identity and purpose. You stop negotiating with your old habits and start leading yourself with clarity and intent. Remember, discipline is a lifelong practice. It doesn't end once you've built your habits or reached a goal. Life will always present challenges that test your commitment. Your discipline ensures that no matter what arises, you remain aligned with your vision and identity. Finally, combine all elements we've discussed: clarity, small actions, delayed gratification, environmental design, accountability, resilience, and self-compassion. These create a robust system that redefines you at your core. Discipline isn't a skill, it's the backbone of the person you're becoming. When you master discipline, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You take full ownership of your life. You are no longer drifting. You are intentionally crafting a life that reflects your potential. In the next chapter, we'll explore the mindset of unstoppable focus, how to channel your discipline into results, and how to avoid the distractions that derail progress. Chapter 6. The mindset of unstoppable focus. Focus is the engine that turns discipline into tangible results. You can be disciplined, consistent, and committed, but without focus, your energy scatters and your progress stalls. Focus is the ability to direct your mental, emotional, and physical resources toward one goal, and to maintain that direction even when distractions arise. It's the secret weapon of every high achiever, and it can be cultivated like a skill. The first step in developing unstoppable focus is clarity of intention. Just as a magnifying glass can concentrate sunlight to create fire, your mind needs a single clear target to ignite progress. If your goals are vague or scattered, your energy dissipates, leaving you busy but unproductive. Define precisely what you want and make it non-negotiable in your mind. Once your goal is clear, the second step is eliminating distractions. Our modern world is designed to fragment attention. Notifications, social media, endless entertainment, and constant interruptions train the brain to flit from one thing to another. To achieve mastery, you must reclaim your attention. Turn off alerts, create a dedicated workspace, and set time blocks where nothing else exists except the task at hand. But focus isn't just about removal, it's also about redirection. Your mind is naturally drawn to novelty, pleasure, and avoidance of discomfort. To counteract this, deliberately direct your energy toward meaningful tasks. This requires self-awareness, noticing when your thoughts drift, and gently guiding them back without judgment. Each time you redirect your attention, you strengthen the focus muscle in your brain. Another essential principle is single-tasking over multitasking. The human brain is not designed for true multitasking. Attempting to do multiple tasks simultaneously divides attention and reduces efficiency. Research shows that multitasking can lower productivity by up to 40%. Instead, commit to one task, fully immerse yourself, and give it your undivided attention until completion. Mastery emerges from depth, not breadth. Focus is also deeply tied to energy management. Your mind cannot sustain high-level concentration indefinitely. Peak focus comes when your body and mind are rested, nourished, and alert. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, and proper nutrition are not optional. They're the foundation for mental clarity. The most disciplined and motivated individuals fail if they ignore their energy levels. Focus thrives in a state of vitality. A powerful tool for focus is ritual and routine. Humans are creatures of habit, and rituals automate discipline. By creating specific routines for your work, you remove the friction of decision-making. For example, if you start your day with a structured morning routine, exercise, journaling, and priority setting, you prime your mind for concentrated work. Rituals reduce mental fatigue and create predictable conditions for focus. The next element is mindset mastery. Focus is not just a mechanical skill, it's a mental state. It requires you to adopt a mindset of deliberate attention, resisting the urge to chase fleeting impulses. This means embracing discomfort. Focusing on challenging tasks often feels hard or unpleasant, but mastery comes from willingness to stay present and fully engaged, despite resistance. Visualization is another method to strengthen focus. Before engaging in a task, picture yourself completing it successfully. See the details, feel the emotions, and immerse yourself in the outcome. This primes your brain, enhances motivation, and improves performance. Elite athletes and top performers use visualization as a daily practice because it trains the mind to maintain attention, even under pressure. A lesser-known but critical aspect of focus is information diet control. Not all knowledge is beneficial at all times. Consuming excessive content, constantly seeking new insights without action, creates mental clutter. Focused individuals filter their inputs carefully. They only engage with information that directly contributes to their goals and ignore everything else. Distractions aren't always external. Many arise internally. Worries, doubts, and self-criticism can fragment attention. To manage these, practice mindfulness and self-awareness. Recognize intrusive thoughts without judgment, acknowledge them, and return to the task at hand. This is mental training. Every interruption you overcome strengthens your ability to stay focused. Time management is also crucial. Focus without structure leads to wasted effort. Break your day into intentional blocks dedicated to specific goals. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method, periods of intense focus followed by short breaks, to maximize concentration without burnout. Track your productivity and adjust based on results. Another key insight is goal alignment. You cannot sustain deep focus on tasks that don't matter. Every task you dedicate energy to should reflect your highest priorities. Ask yourself, does this task move me closer to the person I'm becoming? If not, it's a distraction masquerading as importance. Learn to distinguish urgency from significance. Persistence is intertwined with focus. Even when motivation dips, distractions multiply, or fatigue sets in, you must maintain intention. True focus is not about feeling like it, it's about committing to the process regardless of emotion. The brain learns focus by repeated practice. Each session of attention builds neural pathways that make future focus easier. Environmental design continues to play a role. Surround yourself with cues that encourage concentration and remove triggers of distraction. Your environment should whisper, "This is a space for growth," not scream for attention elsewhere. Consider noise control, visual simplicity, and dedicated areas for work and learning. The power of focus also lies in momentum. Once you enter a state of deep concentration, your productivity compounds, tasks feel easier, creativity flows, and problem-solving becomes sharper. Discipline creates the conditions for focus. Focus amplifies the results of discipline. Together they form the engine of transformation. Finally, reflect on the bigger picture. Focus isn't just about completing tasks, it's about creating a life aligned with your purpose and identity. When your attention is consistently directed toward meaningful goals, you stop drifting. You stop letting life happen to you. Instead, you deliberately shape your future. To summarize, the mindset of unstoppable focus requires clarity of intention, elimination of distractions, single tasking, and immersion, energy management, rituals and routines, mental state mastery and embracing discomfort, visualization of outcomes, control over your information diet, awareness of internal distractions, structured time management, alignment with meaningful goals, persistence through challenges, environmental support. Master these principles and focus stops being a struggle. It becomes your default state, your superpower, your tool for achieving the extraordinary life you're building from zero. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of resilience in action, how to turn challenges into fuel for growth, and how to keep building momentum even when life pushes back. Chapter 7. Turning challenges into fuel. Life doesn't happen in a straight line. Every person who achieves greatness experiences setbacks, failures, and obstacles. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's how they respond to challenges. Challenges are inevitable, but they don't have to derail your journey. In fact, if approached correctly, challenges can become the fuel that accelerates your growth. When you're rebuilding yourself from zero, challenges will come in many forms. They might be external, criticism, financial hardship, or unexpected events. They might also be internal, fear, self-doubt, or old habits trying to pull you back. These obstacles are tests of your resolve, but they are also opportunities disguised as difficulties. The first step in turning challenges into fuel is reframing your mindset. Most people see problems as threats, something to avoid or fear. But the new you needs to see challenges as signals, markers showing where growth is required. Every challenge is a lesson. Every obstacle points toward an area of life that needs strength, resilience, or clarity. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Consider failure. Failure is rarely a straight loss. It's a learning tool. When you fail, you gain data, information about what works, what doesn't, and what adjustments are needed. Every mistake becomes a building block for the new version of yourself. The sooner you adopt this perspective, the faster you rebuild. The second step is emotional mastery. Challenges often provoke strong feelings: anger, fear, disappointment. These emotions can either paralyze you or motivate you. The difference lies in how you respond. Emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing feelings. It means observing them, understanding their source, and consciously deciding how to act. By responding deliberately rather than reacting impulsively, you turn emotional energy into productive action. Resilience is the third key element. Resilience is not an inborn trait. It's cultivated. It's the capacity to recover from adversity, maintain effort under pressure, and keep moving forward when life feels heavy. To build resilience, practice small recoveries every day. When you face a minor setback, a missed goal, a mistake at work, a conflict with someone, use it as training. Each recovery strengthens your mental muscles, preparing you for bigger challenges. Another powerful strategy is problem decomposition. Often, challenges feel overwhelming because we look at them as monolithic obstacles. Break them down into smaller, actionable steps. Instead of thinking, "I can't handle this huge problem," identify the first small step you can take. One action leads to another, and momentum begins to build. This technique transforms fear into manageable progress. Challenges also reveal strengths and weaknesses. Pay attention to how you respond under pressure. Which parts of yourself rise to the occasion? Which parts falter? This self-awareness is invaluable. It allows you to reinforce strengths and address weaknesses consciously. Over time, you develop a more resilient and capable version of yourself. Support systems play a crucial role as well. Facing challenges alone is possible, but much harder. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth, provide guidance, and hold you accountable. Mentors, friends, or communities can offer perspectives that help you navigate obstacles more effectively. Remember, asking for support is not weakness, it's strategic leverage in your growth journey. A mindset of gratitude transforms challenges even further. When difficulties arise, look for what you can learn or appreciate. Gratitude doesn't deny hardship, it acknowledges that every situation carries lessons and opportunities. By focusing on growth rather than complaint, you maintain energy, optimism, and motivation. Self-discipline intersects with challenges in a powerful way. When faced with obstacles, the easy option is often avoidance or giving up. Discipline allows you to persist despite discomfort, fear, or fatigue. By practicing consistent action in the face of challenges, you turn adversity into a proving ground for your new identity. Reflection is another essential tool. After a challenge, take time to analyze the situation. What went wrong? What went right? What would you do differently next time? Reflection transforms experience into wisdom, allowing each obstacle to leave you stronger and more prepared for the future. Challenges also teach adaptability. The ability to pivot, adjust, and find alternative paths is critical in rebuilding your life. Rigid approaches often fail when life doesn't go as planned. Flexible thinking, coupled with discipline, ensures that setbacks become detours, not dead ends. Visualization and mental rehearsal can also prepare you for challenges. By imagining potential obstacles and practicing your response in advance, you reduce fear and increase readiness. This mental preparation creates confidence and allows you to act decisively when real challenges arise. Physical health cannot be overlooked. A strong body supports a strong mind. Regular exercise, proper nutrition, and sufficient rest increase your capacity to handle stress and maintain focus under pressure. A resilient body underpins a resilient mindset. Another subtle but powerful factor is language and self-talk. The words you use to describe challenges shape your response. Saying, "This is impossible," triggers fear and paralysis. Saying, "This is a chance to learn and grow," primes your brain to seek solutions. Conscious self-talk is a mental tool that can transform challenges into opportunities. Timing and patience are crucial. Some challenges require immediate action, others need careful observation. Recognize when to act and when to wait. Patience allows perspective, while timely action ensures momentum. Balancing both ensures that challenges are addressed efficiently without reactionary mistakes. Finally, every challenge conquered reinforces identity. Each time you face fear, doubt, or adversity and continue moving forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable, resilient, and committed. This cumulative evidence strengthens your confidence, reinforces your discipline, and solidifies your new identity. Remember, the road to transformation is not smooth. You will stumble, fall, and encounter obstacles, but with the right mindset, emotional control, discipline, reflection, and support, every challenge becomes fuel, energy to propel you toward mastery of yourself and your life. In the next chapter, we'll examine the power of daily routines and how consistent, intentional actions compound to create extraordinary results over time. Chapter 8. The compounding power of daily routines. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't occur through one grand gesture or a single moment of motivation. Real, lasting change comes from the small, consistent actions you take every day, the daily routines that over time compound into extraordinary results. This is the principle of compounding applied to personal growth. Tiny choices repeated consistently lead to massive change. The first step in harnessing this power is understanding the importance of consistency over intensity. People often believe that change requires extraordinary effort or huge leaps. They imagine life-altering breakthroughs happening in a day or a week, but in reality, it's not the occasional heroic effort that transforms lives. It's the steady daily investment of small actions. A single day of perfect discipline does nothing if it's not repeated tomorrow. But repeated daily, those small steps create unstoppable momentum. Consider habits like exercise, reading, or learning a new skill. One workout, one chapter, one practice session has minimal impact. But repeated day after day, the effect compounds, the body strengthens, the mind expands, and skills improve. By the end of the year, you've built something that seemed impossible at the beginning. This is the magic of compounding. To take advantage of this, you must design your routines intentionally. Random, unplanned actions rarely produce consistent growth. A daily routine is like a blueprint for your life. It structures your energy, guides your focus, and creates a predictable environment for success. Your routine should reflect your priorities and align with the person you're becoming. Start by identifying the key areas of your life that drive transformation: health, mindset, relationships, learning, productivity. For each area, create simple, repeatable actions that can be done daily. These actions don't have to be massive, they just have to be consistent. A 10-minute morning meditation, a 20-minute workout, a brief journaling session. These small, consistent actions accumulate more than sporadic bursts of effort. Another important principle is habit stacking. This means attaching a new desired habit to an existing routine. For example, if you already brush your teeth every morning, use that as a trigger to do 2 minutes of stretching afterward. If you drink your morning coffee, spend 5 minutes reviewing your daily priorities. By linking new habits to established ones, you reduce friction and make them automatic over time. The power of sequencing also matters. Some actions build momentum for others. Starting your day with high-impact, non-negotiable actions like exercise, planning, or focused work sets the tone for the entire day. When you complete these first, other tasks feel easier, and your energy remains high for important priorities. This sequence creates a psychological advantage, reinforcing discipline and focus. Your routine should also include reflection and adjustment. Daily reflection allows you to monitor progress, recognize small wins, and identify areas for improvement. Take a few minutes each evening to review what worked, what didn't, and what you can do differently tomorrow. This feedback loop ensures your routines evolve alongside your growth and remain aligned with your goals. Another critical aspect is simplicity and feasibility. Overly complicated routines fail because they are hard to sustain. Focus on the essentials, the few actions that have the highest impact. Remove unnecessary steps, distractions, or obligations. A simple, clear routine is easier to maintain consistently, and consistency is where the compounding effect comes from. Consistency also builds trust in yourself. Every day you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and reliable. This trust in yourself strengthens your identity and reduces self-doubt. When challenges arise, your daily routines provide a foundation of stability and resilience. One of the most overlooked benefits of daily routines is their impact on mental energy. When actions are habitual, they require less conscious effort. This frees up mental bandwidth for high-priority tasks, creativity, and problem-solving. Your mind isn't constantly negotiating motivation or willpower. It simply follows the structure you've designed. Another powerful technique is morning routines. Starting the day intentionally sets the tone for focus, discipline, and energy. This could include movement, journaling, reading, meditation, or planning your most important tasks. By beginning your day deliberately, you create a momentum that carries through every action afterward. Evening routines, too, are critical. They prepare your mind and body for rest, reflection, and renewal, ensuring consistent energy for the next day. The compounding effect works both ways. Positive routines compound into success, while negative routines compound into mediocrity or failure. Small daily decisions, procrastinating, wasting time, or giving in to distractions, accumulate over months and years, shaping your life in ways most people never notice until it's too late. This is why intentional routines are crucial. To maximize the compounding effect, pair action with identity. Every routine should reinforce the person you want to become. For example, if your goal is to be healthy, each workout isn't just exercise, it's a statement: I am a healthy, disciplined person. If your goal is to be knowledgeable, each reading session reinforces: I am a lifelong learner. When routines and identity align, consistency becomes easier, and compounding accelerates. Accountability enhances routine effectiveness. Share your goals, track your progress, or work alongside others who are also committed to growth. External accountability adds another layer of reinforcement, making it more likely that routines stick over the long term. Flexibility is also important. Life is unpredictable, and strict routines can sometimes feel rigid or discouraging when circumstances change. Build flexibility into your routines to accommodate adjustments without losing momentum. The goal is not perfection, it's persistence and compounding over time. Finally, recognize that the impact of daily routines extends beyond tangible results. They shape your mindset, build resilience, and deepen your focus. They provide structure when life feels chaotic, clarity when the path seems uncertain, and confidence when doubt arises. Daily routines are not just actions, they are the architecture of your new life. In summary, the compounding power of daily routines comes from consistency over intensity, intentional design aligned with priorities, habit stacking and sequencing, simplicity and feasibility, reflection and adjustment, building self-trust and mental energy, identity reinforcement, accountability, and flexibility. When you commit to daily routines that serve your growth, each day adds a brick to the foundation of your future. Months and years later, the cumulative effect is extraordinary, a life that reflects the intentional, disciplined, and focused person you've become. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to harness the power of mindset for lasting confidence, so your routines, discipline, and focus translate into unwavering self-belief. Chapter 9: The Mindset of Lasting Confidence. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is not a trait reserved for a select few. True, lasting confidence is built, cultivated, and reinforced over time through deliberate action, mindset shifts, and consistent practice. It is a byproduct of discipline, focus, resilience, and mastery of your habits. Without confidence, all other efforts, routines, goals, and actions can falter under self-doubt. With it, you can face challenges, take risks, and pursue your vision with unwavering determination. The foundation of lasting confidence begins with self-awareness. You must understand who you are, your strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and potential. Confidence doesn't mean pretending to be perfect or fearless. It means knowing your abilities, accepting your limitations, and trusting yourself to act despite fear. One powerful approach is reflection on past successes. Most people underestimate the value of their own accomplishments. Take time to recall moments when you overcame challenges, made the right decisions, or achieved something meaningful. Reliving these moments trains your mind to recognize that you are capable. This evidence of competence becomes fuel for future confidence. Another critical element is competence through preparation. Confidence is not baseless bravado, it is grounded in skill and mastery. When you dedicate time to learn, practice, and refine your abilities, you remove the fear of the unknown. Preparation reduces uncertainty, and certainty breeds confidence. For instance, a student who consistently studies and practices a skill will feel more confident than one who relies on luck. The same principle applies to any area of life. Preparation is the cornerstone of self-assurance. Action breeds confidence more than thought ever can. Many people wait to feel confident before they act, but this is backward. Confidence is strengthened through experience, not abstract belief. Every step you take, even in the face of doubt, strengthens neural pathways that reinforce courage and self-belief. The key is to start small and build gradually. Each completed action is a brick in the foundation of enduring confidence. Your self-talk plays a pivotal role. The words you use internally shape your beliefs and behaviors. Phrases like "I can handle this," "I am capable," or "I will learn and grow" prime your mind to respond with courage and competence. Conversely, negative self-talk undermines effort and reinforces fear. Train your inner voice intentionally. Speak to yourself as you would to a trusted friend, with encouragement, guidance, and belief in your potential. Body language and posture are subtle yet profound contributors to confidence. Standing tall, maintaining eye contact, and using deliberate gestures influence not only how others perceive you, but also how you perceive yourself. When you adopt the physical behaviors of confidence, your mind internalizes them. This is why athletes, speakers, and leaders use posture and movement as part of their mental preparation. Resilience intersects with confidence in a powerful way. True confidence is not arrogance. It is the steady belief in your ability to navigate uncertainty and recover from setbacks. When challenges arise, confident individuals do not crumble. They adapt, learn, and continue forward. Each recovery reinforces self-trust, making confidence more durable over time. Visualization is another tool for building confidence. By imagining yourself succeeding in specific scenarios, you prepare your mind to perform under pressure. Visualization creates mental familiarity, reducing fear and increasing self-assurance. Elite performers across fields use this technique to approach challenges with composure and clarity. Discipline and routines also reinforce confidence. When you consistently follow through on your commitments, your actions prove your reliability to yourself. This trust in your own capabilities strengthens self-belief. Confidence is not just feeling good, it is knowing from experience that you can deliver results. Taking calculated risks is essential. Confidence grows when you step outside comfort zones and face uncertainty. Every time you take action despite fear, you expand your boundaries, proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagined. Avoiding risk reinforces doubt, while embracing challenges strengthens courage and self-assurance. Accountability is another multiplier of confidence. When you set standards, track progress, and measure results, you create objective evidence of your competence. This external validation complements internal belief, creating a feedback loop that reinforces self-trust and capability. It's important to recognize that confidence is contextual. You may feel self-assured in one area of life, but uncertain in another. The key is to apply the same principles: preparation, action, reflection, and repetition to every domain. Gradually, your confidence becomes more generalized, extending beyond specific skills to your identity as a competent, capable individual. Mindset shifts are also essential. Confident individuals embrace challenges as opportunities rather than threats. They perceive setbacks not as reflections of inadequacy, but as lessons that contribute to growth. This growth-oriented mindset separates enduring confidence from fragile ego or superficial bravado. Gratitude and self-compassion enhance confidence further. Confidence doesn't require harsh self-criticism. By appreciating your progress, recognizing effort over perfection, and treating yourself kindly, you create a sustainable foundation for belief in your capabilities. Harsh judgment undermines resilience and leads to self-doubt, while compassion reinforces strength and persistence. Consistency is the ultimate multiplier. Daily actions aligned with your goals, daily decisions to act despite fear, and daily reinforcement of positive habits compound into a profound sense of self-assurance. Over time, confidence becomes less about occasional moments and more about your default state of mind. Finally, surround yourself with positive influences. Confidence is contagious. Being around ambitious, supportive, and competent people reinforces your own belief in what's possible. Conversely, negative or unsupportive environments can erode confidence over time. Choose your inner circle deliberately and engage with those who challenge and uplift you. To summarize, the mindset of lasting confidence is built upon self-awareness and reflection on past achievements, competence and preparation, action in the face of fear, positive self-talk, body language and presence, resilience and recovery from setbacks, visualization and mental rehearsal, discipline, routines, and consistency, calculated risk-taking, accountability and feedback, growth-oriented mindset, gratitude, self-compassion, and environment. When these elements align, confidence ceases to be fragile or fleeting. It becomes a steady, reliable force that supports every action you take. It allows you to face life's uncertainties with composure, pursue ambitious goals without hesitation, and embody the person you are striving to become. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of influence and connection, how mastering your mindset and confidence allows you to impact others positively while accelerating your own growth. Chapter 10. The Power of Influence and Connection. No person achieves true success entirely alone. Behind every great accomplishment, there is a network of relationships, mentors, collaborators, and supporters. Influence and connection are the catalysts that amplify your impact, extend your reach, and create opportunities that would otherwise remain out of reach. Learning how to connect with people effectively is not about manipulation, it's about authenticity, trust, and mutual benefit. The first principle of influence is authenticity. People are instinctively drawn to those who are genuine. When your actions, words, and values are aligned, you naturally earn respect and attention. Authenticity means being comfortable in your own skin, embracing your strengths, and acknowledging your weaknesses. When you are real, others can relate to you, trust you, and follow your lead. Listening is another cornerstone of influence. True influence is not about speaking more, it's about listening deeply. Pay attention to what people are saying, understand their needs, and validate their experiences. When people feel heard and understood, they are far more receptive to your ideas. Active listening demonstrates empathy, intelligence, and respect, all qualities that enhance your ability to connect. Influence is also built through value creation. People are drawn to those who provide solutions, insights, or support that improves their lives. Identify how your skills, knowledge, or experience can serve others. When you focus on contributing first, influence follows naturally. This approach builds credibility, trust, and long-term relationships. Storytelling is a subtle but powerful tool for influence. Humans are wired to respond to narratives. Sharing your journey, experiences, and lessons in a relatable story helps people connect emotionally. Stories make your message memorable and inspire action. When combined with authenticity, storytelling transforms influence from mere persuasion into inspiration. Body language and presence are critical. Non-verbal cues often speak louder than words. Confident posture, steady eye contact, and intentional gestures reinforce your credibility. Conversely, nervousness, fidgeting, or inconsistency can undermine even the best message. Align your body language with your words to communicate confidence and authority. Emotional intelligence is another key factor. Influence is less about what you know and more about how you make others feel. Understanding emotions, your own and others, allows you to navigate interactions skillfully. Empathy, patience, and emotional regulation help you maintain strong relationships even in challenging situations. Networking strategically is a practical skill for influence. Seek connections with individuals who inspire you, share your values, or complement your strengths. Focus on quality, not quantity. Meaningful relationships provide mentorship, guidance, and opportunities for collaboration. A strong network amplifies your impact far beyond what you can achieve alone. Reciprocity is fundamental in human relationships. When you give value, support, or guidance, people are more likely to reciprocate. This principle is not about expecting something in return, but about creating a culture of mutual benefit. By contributing generously, you cultivate trust, loyalty, and influence naturally. Consistency in character is also essential. Your influence is built over time through repeated demonstrations of integrity, reliability, and competence. People remember patterns, not isolated actions. Every interaction, no matter how small, contributes to the perception others have of you. Consistent behavior creates credibility and solidifies your influence. Influence requires clarity in communication. Express your ideas clearly, concisely, and with purpose. Avoid ambiguity or unnecessary complexity. People follow those who provide direction and insight. When you articulate your vision effectively, others are more likely to align with your goals. Conflict management is another aspect of influence. Disagreements are inevitable in relationships. How you navigate them determines your credibility and authority. Approach conflicts with calm, empathy, and a solution-oriented mindset. Resolving tension effectively strengthens trust and demonstrates leadership. Mentorship is a powerful way to influence. Teaching, guiding, or supporting someone in their journey multiplies your impact. Mentorship allows you to share experience, provide perspective, and cultivate the next generation of capable individuals. Influence through mentorship leaves a lasting legacy. Social proof and credibility also play a role. People are influenced by examples, achievements, and endorsements. Demonstrate expertise through results, testimonials, or experience. While authenticity is vital, credibility reinforces your influence by showing that others trust and respect your abilities. Adaptability is key to sustaining influence. Every person, team, or situation is different. Tailor your approach to meet the needs of the context while remaining true to your core values. Flexibility allows you to maintain strong connections and influence across diverse settings. Listening, giving value, storytelling, emotional intelligence, and credibility converge to create a feedback loop. The more you positively impact others, the more influence you gain, which in turn allows you to create even greater impact. Influence is not static, it grows exponentially with intention and action. Finally, influence without integrity is fleeting. Influence rooted in manipulation or selfish gain collapses under scrutiny. Lasting influence comes from genuine care, competence, and consistent action. When your influence is anchored in these principles, it not only supports your success, but elevates the people around you. In summary, mastering influence and connection involves authenticity and self-alignment, deep, active listening, creating value for others, storytelling and emotional engagement, confident body language and presence, emotional intelligence and empathy, strategic networking, reciprocity and generosity, consistency in character and action, clear and purposeful communication, effective conflict management, mentorship and legacy building, credibility and social proof, adaptability to context. Influence is a force multiplier. When combined with the habits, focus, discipline, resilience, and confidence cultivated in earlier chapters, it allows you to extend your reach, amplify your results, and create a life of impact. The next chapter will dive into how to sustain momentum and growth over a lifetime, ensuring that your transformation from zero to your full potential continues without pause. Chapter 11. Sustaining momentum and lifelong growth. Achieving transformation is one thing. Sustaining it is another. Many people start strong, motivated by a surge of energy, excitement, or inspiration, but over time, momentum fades. Without deliberate effort, habits weaken, focus wavers, and old patterns re-emerge. Lifelong growth requires a system that not only initiates change, but also maintains it over years, even decades. The first key to sustaining momentum is purpose-driven action. Momentum doesn't survive in a vacuum. It thrives when anchored to a meaningful goal. Your why provides direction and energy. When the reasons behind your actions are deeply connected to your values, you continue even when motivation is low. Purpose acts as a compass, ensuring that each day's effort contributes to long-term growth. Consistency is the next pillar. Lifelong growth isn't about occasional bursts of effort. It's about daily commitment. The compounding power of small repeated actions, whether habits, routines, or skill building, produces significant results over time. Missing a day isn't catastrophic, but habitual consistency creates unstoppable momentum. Track your progress, review your goals, and keep accountability systems in place to reinforce discipline. Another critical element is adaptive learning. Life constantly changes, and the strategies that work today may not work tomorrow. Lifelong growth requires an open mind, curiosity, and a willingness to evolve. Read widely, seek new experiences, and embrace feedback. The people who maintain momentum are not those who cling rigidly to old methods, but those who adapt intelligently while staying true to their core values. Resilience and recovery play a major role in sustaining growth. Setbacks are inevitable, projects fail, plans derail, and energy wanes. Resilience allows you to recover quickly and continue forward without losing momentum. Each recovery strengthens your ability to persist, and over time, resilience becomes a habit itself, a form of compounding strength that supports every other aspect of growth. Energy management is often overlooked, but essential. Mental, emotional, and physical energy are finite resources. Sustainable growth depends on maintaining them. Prioritize sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mental breaks. Use energy intentionally for high-priority tasks. Avoid burnout by balancing effort with recovery. Momentum is fueled by vitality, not mere willpower. Reflection and assessment are critical tools. Lifelong growth requires regular evaluation of progress, strategies, and mindset. Set aside time weekly, monthly, or quarterly to review accomplishments, identify obstacles, and adjust approaches. Reflection ensures you stay on course, prevents stagnation, and highlights opportunities for improvement. Goal evolution is another aspect of sustaining momentum. As you grow, your goals must evolve with your capabilities, circumstances, and aspirations. Stagnant goals lead to boredom or complacency. Continually set challenges that stretch your abilities and align with your vision. Stretch goals encourage innovation, risk-taking, and deeper engagement with your purpose. Building a supportive ecosystem amplifies momentum. Surround yourself with people, resources, and environments that reinforce growth. Mentors, coaches, accountability partners, and inspiring communities help maintain energy, provide guidance, and offer perspective. Conversely, negative influences can drain motivation and derail progress. Choose your circle carefully. Rituals and routines remain central to sustaining momentum. Once established, effective routines reduce the mental friction required for action. They automate discipline, conserve energy, and create predictability in the pursuit of growth. Morning routines, end-of-day reviews, and habit tracking ensure that daily efforts compound into long-term results. Mindset reinforcement is essential. Over time, challenges, failures, or monotony can erode confidence and self-belief. Continuous cultivation of a growth-oriented mindset, positive self-talk, and resilience thinking ensures that you remain focused, motivated, and capable of overcoming obstacles. Your mindset is both the engine and the rudder for lifelong momentum. Celebration and acknowledgement of progress are powerful tools. Taking time to recognize achievements, no matter how small, reinforces motivation, increases satisfaction, and strengthens self-belief. It's not about complacency. It's about reinforcing the feedback loop that makes persistence natural. Curiosity and innovation are critical for long-term growth. Lifelong learners continually seek improvement, new ideas, and innovative solutions. Curiosity drives engagement, experimentation, and adaptability. People who stop learning stagnate. Those who maintain a mindset of exploration sustain energy and momentum across decades. Accountability structures are non-negotiable, whether through personal tracking, sharing goals publicly, or working with mentors. Accountability ensures consistency and keeps motivation high. It bridges the gap between intention and action, transforming aspirations into tangible results. Sustainability also depends on balancing ambition and patience. Growth is a marathon, not a sprint. It's essential to push hard on priorities while allowing sufficient time for mastery and adjustment. Impatience can lead to burnout or frustration. Patience allows for deep learning, reflection, and integration of lessons. Finally, legacy thinking reinforces lifelong momentum. Consider how your actions today contribute to the long-term impact you wish to create. Aligning daily efforts with your desired legacy motivates consistent, purposeful action and encourages decision-making that supports enduring growth. To summarize, sustaining momentum and lifelong growth requires purpose-driven action, daily consistency, adaptive learning and curiosity, resilience and recover, energy management, regular reflection and assessment, evolution of goals, supportive environment, rituals and routines, growth-oriented mindset, celebration and acknowledgement of progress, accountability and feedback, patience and long-term perspective, legacy-oriented thinking. When these principles converge, momentum becomes self-sustaining. Each day builds on the last, and progress accelerates over time. The life you create becomes a reflection of consistent, deliberate, and purposeful action. Momentum is not temporary. It becomes an intrinsic part of who you are and how you navigate the world. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to cultivate a vision that drives every action, connecting daily effort, routines, and growth into a cohesive plan for extraordinary achievement.